Would you like to live your best life possible, regardless of your imperfections? Discover cutting-edge tools and inspiration to let go of your limitations and expand your life beyond what you've ever imagined. On Imperfect Brilliance, we help you tap into your unique gifts and talents, uncovering and letting your brilliance shine. Join certified facilitator and coach Betsy McLaughlin as she delves into different areas of your life to get unstuck and create the life that is truly possible for you. Betsy has changed her life by utilizing the tools and techniques she is sharing with you. What if your willingness to acknowledge your brilliance is the catalyst to creating a new reality? When you stop judging you, what else can you create in your life and in the world? Join Betsy live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern to create magical and joyous possibilities for an hour of laughs, questions, tips, and more. We are excited to contribute and play with you.
Oh my gosh, you guys, welcome to Imperfect Brilliance. This is Betsy McLaughlin, your host, who is definitely imperfectly brilliant. And depending on the day, it may be more brilliant or it may be more imperfect. And I have had the honor of having this show, cracking my guest up already. I was looking at how long I've done this radio show, and it's actually been longer than I realized. It's been like 5.5 years or almost 6 years. And I've had so much fun with it, and I've had a couple of different phenomenal co-hosts, and I am doing it solo, and this is my second solo show, and I'm so grateful today that I have the amazing Donnielle Carter with me. And Donnielle, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to describe who you are, what you do in a few words. So
I don't know if you're asking me.
I know, right? We may want to do a disclaimer at the very beginning of this show, like if you don't want to laugh, you probably should just say goodbye now. So I have had the pleasure of knowing Donnielle for several years now, and she is an amazing, amazing gal. And some of the things that she does is she is, as I am, we are both certified facilitators with Access Consciousness. And she also does several different things, including being in charge of running the Right Body for You whole program, which is an amazing body of work on itself. And then she also is a 3-day body facilitator, which means she travels the world teaching all of these different classes and more, and has an amazing story. If you guys are interested in finding more out about Donnielle, you can find her on a variety of ways, including on Facebook. And her name is spelled Donnielle, Carter.
I love it. You got it right.
I know. And her website is very easy, www.donnielle.com. So you can find lots more information about Donnielle there. And let's see, what else? I'm sure more things will come available as we are talking. She is also a creator of magnitude. She does a lot of different things with the company, Access Consciousness, helps them, does a lot of the live streaming classes. She does the camera work. She's running a lot of different programs. And somewhere in there, once in a while, she probably sleeps.
Wait a minute, what? I didn't know that was on the list.
Was I supposed to sleep? And so, first of all, welcome, Donnielle. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to come and spend an hour with us. We're very grateful.
Oh, I'm so grateful to have be here with you. I just love playing with you, Betsy. You're amazing. You're just such a gift and fun and joy.
Oh, thank you so much. I will totally receive that. Thank you. And, at one point in my life, I was not able to receive those kinds of words. So, interestingly enough, that is what we're going to be talking about today, and that is the energy of words. And I found that Donnielle actually has created this into a specialty class called The Energy of Words, and creating your body and your life with the energy of words. So here's a little description that I found that she had online, and it'll be fascinating to see where we go after this. So have you ever asked for one thing and gotten the complete opposite? Yes, like all the time for me. When I used to all the time be like, how come that didn't turn out the way I thought it would? Right? And that is because the energy behind the words that are coming out of your mouth do not match. So when you use words and you're congruent with the energy that you intended, that's when the magic is created. So I am fascinated to see where we're going to go with this. And it looks like Donnielle does this as either a 1-day or a 2-day class. So how about you tell us a little bit about how all of this got created, and then we'll jump off there and then see where we go.
Great, yeah. And thank you for the introduction. It's like every once in a while when everything's listed, I was like, holy crap, there's a lot of stuff in there somewhere.
That is.
No, it kind of one of those moments where you go, oh, that's why I'm busy. Anyway, but I love it. So it actually started with a couple of things. It started with I love to write. I've been a writer my whole life. As a kid, I wrote stories. When I was in junior high, I made a pen name for myself, and I've always been a writer. Yeah, I've always enjoyed writing.
Would you like to share what your pen name was?
It was Crystal Carter, but my last name is Carter, right? But it was Crystal, Kristelle, Karter. So I had played with the K and everything and had fun with it. So yeah, so my pen name was Crystal Carter, and which is funny because my mom went, I almost named you Crystal. I'm like, oh, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She's like, but your dad didn't like it. Which Donnielle, I was named Don after my dad, Donald. So no wonder he didn't like Crystal. But anyways.
Oh, interesting. Speaking about words, right?
Right, totally. So I love writing, okay? And, I facilitate foundations like Betsy does because we're certified facilitators. But I also have the honor of facilitating the Access Consciousness 3-day body class and then the Right Body for You class that Betsy mentioned. And, I had the honor of writing the first chapter of the Right Body for You book. And over the past 10 years, I've developed the 2.5-day workshop with the Right Body for You. So I really got to go in and explore people and bodies and points of view and judgments and that. And then as I was working with these people, exploring these energies to create this workshop, it was overwhelmingly, so many people were like, I asked for one thing and I get the opposite. What the hell is going on? I'm like, that's a good question. And so I really started looking at it. Excellent question. So I started really looking at it, and I was like, okay, so if the original language is energy, which, by the way, when I first heard that, freaked me out because I love my words. I'm a writer. I'm a wordsmith. I'm like, no, my words. And Gary Douglas kind of acts. He's like, hey, do you realize the original language is energy and we all speak energy? I'm like, no, my words. So after a brief mourning period, no, I'm just kidding. Maybe. And so I started looking at this. So as I was having these conversations with people, and they would say, oh yes, I am so grateful for my body, or I just love my body, I'd be like, the words coming out of your mouth are I love my body, but the energy you're projecting is I hate my body.
Interesting.
And so so I started really, really exploring this, and I'm like, take me through some of your morning routines or whatever. Or like, tell me how you asked your body for this, that you got the opposite. It's like, I want to lose weight, and then they gain 50 pounds. And, you know, part of what I deal with is the original definitions of words. But it's also, you can have the definition, or you can be using the word that is the proper definition and blah, 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 and we can get into all that. But there was another layer to it. And once I started looking at the other layer, I went, but you're not believing what you're saying. The energy you're calling up with that isn't matching. And so people would be like, for example, I asked this one girl, she had cancer. She's 15 years old. She created this cancer. And I was working with her, and I'm like, do you want to change this or whatever? And she's like, of course, I want to live and this. And, you know, she did all this stuff. And I'm like, nothing was changing. Because that was the other element of it, is like, people were always going, I want to change this, but it wouldn't change. And I'm like, I get you're frustrated. Let's look at what's going on. So really looking at this, I was like, okay, so talk to me. So I just listened, and I watched them. And at the same time, like this 15-year-old, she was like, oh, yes, I want to get over this cancer. I want to not have this cancer. And energetically underneath, she was going, I don't want the cancer to change, because for the first time in my family's history, it's all about me. This is actually shifting and changing things quite dynamically. For me, it's making me happy. I mean, not happy like she wanted to run through fields because she was in a hospital bed with a tube at her side. But her universe was expansive, like the biggest I have ever seen. And I'm like, what is going on? And so, of course, the cancer wasn't healing and changing, because she hadn't acknowledged where she was energetically functioning from, and what she was energetically asking for was that she didn't want it to change. And what's interesting is a lot of people then go to the place of like judging themselves. Oh, I'm such an idiot for doing that, or I asked for it wrong. It's like, no. One of those things I love to do is turn things 180. It's like, how potent do you have to be to create the opposite of what people are projecting at you, or what you think it should be? So it's like, actually, this kind of situation is actually proof of your potency, proof of your capacity to create. And then, but once you get congruent with it, of the words and the energy, it's amazing what you can create and change after that. So that's a very jumbled together, fast pace of, I noticed people were getting what they energetically asked for instead of what they verbally asked for. And it's really getting clear about, yes, the words you use and the definitions behind them, but also the energy you're being with it. Because it's like, I did that with my own body. I asked for something to change, and I was like, what would it change to change my eye hurting? And underneath, I was like, don't change, please don't change, please don't change, because it validates my awareness. I didn't want it to change. And it didn't change until the one day I went, wow, this doesn't actually work for me anymore. So truth, what would it take to change this? And then I got the information, because I was actually congruent with what I was asking for.
Wow. There is so much information in what you just shared with us. And, you know, like even, and I get that a lot of that is the unwillingness to really look at what you have created in your life. And it can be so much easier, right, to be like, but I don't want to have this. And that's exactly what is showing up. And it's just a great example of a congruency of it. So then you look a little bit deeper, and it's like, oh, you know, and one of the questions that we ask in Access, one of the many, many questions, and it's like, what is right about this that I'm not getting? And you may or may not actually have an answer, and I know for me, like I look at, my mother has had several illnesses, and she's had cancer several times, and I look at all of that and it's like, oh, and for her, when she has all these things going on, there's a lot of attention being paid to her, right? All the doctor visits and all of the surgeries and everything going on. And it's not to say that she likes this stuff. And at the same time, she's enjoying the extra attention. So it's kind of the same thing that you were just talking about with this girl. And so much of this can be unconscious. It's not like she's sitting around going, well, I think I'll have cancer now so that I get way more attention and I'm in the hospital. No. And for the first time, I'm the center of attention in my family. That's not what we're saying, but it's really kind of looking at so many things that we can choose that we don't even realize we're choosing.
Yeah, and that's the unconsciousness of it. Because it's like people think unconsciousness, it just means my eyes are closed or whatever. But basically, the way I look at it, anywhere we're turning off our awareness. And, for me, one of the things that turns off your awareness most of the time is the judgment of it. And so, when we're talking about this kind of stuff, one of the things you have to do is you have to be vulnerable to be able to look at something.
Yes.
Yes, this is where I'm functioning, and then not judge it.
So
cool. That's the music.
So true. Thank you guys for listening to Imperfect Brilliance. I'm Betsy McLaughlin here today with Donnielle Carter, and we will be back in just a couple of shakes of a lamb tail. Hang on, we'll be back.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Hi, this is New Age Grammy winner Paul Avgerinos. Thanks for listening to OMTimes Radio, and please support my peaceful healing music with a purchase at iTunes, Amazon, or wherever you shop for fine music. Just put my name into the search engine, Paul Avgerinos. A, V like Victor, G like George, E-R-I-N-O-S. You can also visit me at roundskymusic.com. Thanks for listening, and I'm wishing you the brightest of blessings.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak.
Can we walk home?
How about a taxi?
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
welcome back to Imperfect Brilliance, where we are having an amazing conversation today with Donnielle Carter, who is an extraordinary creator. I'm just looking at all of the different things that you have created and all the people that you have contributed to literally around the world. And I would love, before we kind of go back into this conversation of energy of words, you mentioned in the first segment, right body for you. And for people who might not know what that is, would you just give us, and it's hard to talk about, in a short amount of time, but just give people a little taste of what that means. Like, what is a right body for you?
Right body for you. One of my favorite topics is what this is. Because right body for you is such an interesting body of work. Sorry, no pun intended, within Access Consciousness. Because Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, like 13 years ago or something, it was actually one of the first specialty classes of Access. And what it does is he noticed how when people would come to a class, their life would change. And then when they would come to a body class, their life changed. He's like, wait a minute, maybe there's this symbiotic relationship between the two. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but bodies happen to be one of the most judged things on the planet. I know, shocking. I'm sure to a lot of people there. It's like, I know. Nobody else ever judged their body, but, I did a lot. But, and that's what we've been taught. And, and I was raised by a mother who was a nutritionist who did health talk radio show for 27 years. And so I listened to a lot of people, and it was all about controlling your body. It was all about telling your body what to do. It was all about making your body submit. And it was like about handling what your body threw at you. And all of this was always about making the body your enemy, having this fight with your body. And so when I first started taking Access classes and then Right Body for You, and my very first foundation class, which is a class in Access, was by Dr. Dane here, the co-creator of Access. And he said one sentence that changed my life. He's like, hey, what if your body has a consciousness of its own? Would you be willing to ask it for everything that pertains to it? And I'm like, wait a minute. I've been listening to body experts for my whole life. Nobody has ever said, ask your body. It's always about telling your body what to do. The body is the enemy. What do you mean your body could be your best friend? What do you mean ask your body for it? It has a consciousness? What are you talking about? But at the same time, it expanded my universe, right? I'm like, wait a minute.
What the heck?
Yeah. And so it was amazing. Yeah. And so Right Body for You is about having you be friends with your body. It's about allowing your body to be the tool of awareness, the tool of creation, the tool of so you're not alone. It is that thing that you're always looking for to have your back. It is your body. So it's about creating that communication, that conversation, and then from there creating your body the way you desire it to be, the way your body desires to be, creating your life. Because when I first started Right Body for You, my body changed. It constantly changes. It always does. But that was just one part of it. Literally every aspect of my body, every aspect of my life changed when I included my body. So Right Body for You is about getting out of that judgment and that hatred and that fight with your body and making it an enemy into being a friend with your body, creating with your body, honoring you and honoring your body. And it's awesome, basically. It's allowing your body to be the tool that it is instead of the hindrance that it is, the friend that it is instead of the enemy we've been taught it is.
Yes.
So there's my nutshell.
That was an absolutely beautiful nutshell. And for me, I have spent most of my life in a constant battle with my body and judged and had self-hatred and all of those things. And for me as well, when I heard this suggestion that, your body could be your best friend, I was like, what are you talking about? And it, like you said, it really expanded my universe. And I just started looking at it and playing. And there is a book that Donnielle, like she mentioned before, The Right Body for You, where she wrote the first chapter. And it is and written by Gary Douglas. And it is amazing. You can get it on Amazon. You can find it in the Access Consciousness shop. It's also on Kindle, right?
Yes, it's on Kindle, and it's an audiobook now.
Yes,
it's also an audiobook.
Yeah, it's a recent thing to add it as an audiobook. So anyhow, if that interests you at all, it is an amazing book and there's just some incredible stories in there. And that was one of the first books that I read when I was first introduced to Access. And it was that book as well as Being You, Changing the World by Dr. Dane Here. And those two books, were such a gift to me and totally shifted my reality and my perspective on what I could create and what my body could be like and what my life could be like. And it has been an amazing journey since. And it's been about six and a half years for me. And my life is completely different. And I'm so grateful and so happy for where my life is. And I'm super glad that you talked a little bit about the body and how it weaves back into our main conversation today, which is the energy of words. And our bodies are so amazing, and they will tell us when we are not being in congruency or in harmony with what our thoughts or our words are. And so what else can you share with us on this amazing subject?
Well, and before the music started on the last segment, I was going into one of the things that is required for is, I was talking about being vulnerable with this, so you can be like, hey, what do I actually mean? But a lot of people don't want to go there because they think, oh, then I have to judge myself. And so we stop the creation, we stop that flow of energy. And it's not about judging. It's just about being willing to say, hey, this is where I'm functioning. This is where the energy actually is. Mm-hmm. I was working with somebody recently, and they're like, I'm really depressed. I'm really this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so I asked her some questions, and the energy was never there. The energy never matched. I'm like, okay, so Truth, do you actually desire to change this? And she went, no. I'm like, exactly. Because so we were just spinning our wheels because energetically nothing matched.
And that's okay, it's okay to not want to change something. It's having that awareness is like, oh, okay. So if you really don't desire to do that, then like you said, you're just spinning your wheels. And then, well, guess what? It does give you a lot of fuel to judge yourself.
Well, and then no change. And see, and that's one of the things I hear about a lot is like, I've been doing all this and nothing changes. And so people get frustrated. They think they have no choice. They get angry. They get, they throw things on the floor, whatever it is, right? And, but here's the thing is, it's like if somebody is vulnerable enough to look at that and go, you know what, actually I don't want to change that, that doesn't mean they never do. What that does is it actually invites them back to the being present of where the energy is, so then they have choice. Because until they're willing to be present with that energy and say, actually, I'm functioning from no. I keep saying yes, but I mean no. Nothing changes, right? So once they're willing to be present with that energy and go, oh, it is no. Okay, well, now what do I want to choose? So just because they have a no doesn't mean it's forever. They just mean, oh, I've been secretly functioning from that. And because my body and the universe functions and listens to the energy, not the words that I'm saying, I've been getting exactly that. So, okay, now what I like to choose. So it is about being that vulnerable and then not judging. It's like a 1-2 thing.
Yes. Well, in the description, and I'm looking here, I just noticed that Donnielle is going to have a 2-part call series on this very subject that starts February 27th, and you can find it on accessconsciousness.com. And the last couple of sentences in there just really bring home what you were just saying. And it's when you bring you and your vulnerability to look at what you were truly asking for with the asks that you put in the world, the future will be created.
Yeah.
And then what magic can you create when you're using words that match what you're asking for? And what life and living can you create when you use words that match what you're targeting? And then big and bold and all caps is everything. I love that.
Everything. I know. Right?
I love that.
And, well, because, that's why I had to shift. Because, it's like when I first started Access and they're like, oh, it's about the energy, not the words. I'm like, but my words. And I joked that I went through a mourning period. But what I did is I shifted. It's not that much of a joke, obviously. It's like, but my words, I miss my words. But once I started looking at this from a different place, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Every time you use a word, which is, we use the verbal processing with Access, right? So and it brings up energy. So every time you use a word, it brings up an energy. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it brings up an energy. So it's like we've created words as this limitation. What if words could enhance and supplement our asks of the universe? Because, yes, we could completely, clearly communicate with only energy. We could create with only energy. And what if we actually use what if we actually use words as the tools that we design them as? Because, whenever we went, the original language is energy, and someday we went, hey, let's create a verbal language for whatever reason. Seemed like a good idea, right?
Right.
and so, we saw fire, and we went, oh, that orangey, flamey thing, that's fire. I don't know how you create it without describing it with more words, but you get where I'm going. And so whenever we created that language, that verbal language, it matched the words. So when you say fire, the energy of fire comes up. That's how words can be translated, because the energy of fire is the same if you say fire or fuego or other languages, right? It brings up the same energy. It brings up the same awareness of it, okay? And so we created words as an enhancement, but then we're using it as a limitation. So one of my targets with this is, yes, looking at the original definitions of words, and we're talking about anything printed before 1945, because for whatever reason they changed words at that point. They changed the definitions in Webster's dictionary, but the energy behind it is still from that original, look, fire, and it calls it fire. So you want to look at the original definitions, but then also you want to see how you're communicating. And I think the Energy of Words 2-part telecall on the 27th is subtitled Creating Clear Communication. And it's like creating it with you, creating it with other people, creating it with your body, creating it with the universe. And because, yes, it's about recognizing the original definition, and then it takes it past that. It's like, probably shouldn't say this, but this class could probably make you a better liar, simply because because how do people get caught lying? They're not congruent.
That's true.
They're like, I know I'm lying, and so it's like, oh, the guilt shines through. Well, no, the energy not matching shines through. And so, There's a new slogan. Be a better liar. Come to class. No, anyway. But it's like that's when you're not congruent. It's like, you know, people can look at you and you'll say something to them like, oh, you're like, I'm in the middle of facilitating a 3-day body class right now. And this woman goes, I just love people. And I literally went, oh, you want to kill me? Because the energy was not, I just love everybody. And I want to kill them all. I'm like, holy crap. But then this is the place where people think they're wrong. It's like, well, she's a nice person. She said she loves everybody. And here I am thinking that she wants to kill me. What's wrong with me? Nothing. You're aware. And here's the thing, that doesn't mean she's a bad person. It just means she's trying to fulfill some role or something else. And so she's implanted herself with this, I love everybody. And then it's like, so I talked to her and I'm like, okay, do you really? She's like, no. And when she realized where she was functioning from, then she went into, actually, I do like people. I want to help them. I'm like, yeah. But even that first was, I just love everybody. I'm like, But she was present with it, vulnerable with it, and then she had choice back. So it's so fun. It is so fun to explore these energies. And, you know, I know we're going to go into a commercial break here soon, but it's like when we come back, we could talk about affirmations, because this is right up affirmations alley, why they rarely work for people.
Well, we're going to leave everybody with a little teaser as we go to our last break with Donnielle Carter today on Imperfect Brilliance. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Stay tuned.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Hello, I'm Lisa Berry. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Light on Living. A chance to see new, hear different, and feel more as I shine the spotlight on all the ways to lighten the load of life's challenges. Light on Living is your link to that new way you're looking for, that new understanding that will enhance your life, and that positive connection that will support your growth. So join me and you'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you.
Hi, this is recording artist and composer Yuval Ran, inviting you to a voyage through the chakras, a new double album of guided meditations to transform your life, a sublime musical medicine for nourishing inner peace and reaching to your higher virtues. Get it now at metamindfulnessmusic.com. METTA mindfulnessmusic.com.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. This cat makes me make art. He's always motivating me to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. He's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Keyboard Cat, YouTube star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Start yours today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, everyone, to Imperfect Brilliance. Donnielle Carter is my guest today, and we're having an absolutely fascinating conversation about words and the energy of words, and are you congruent energetically with the words that you're saying? Do they match the energy of what's really going on in your life? And one of the things, and we've got a couple of things I know we want to talk about. One of the things you mentioned earlier, and I'd love to have a little bit more conversation around it, when you were mentioning about the word, just like a word and different languages, and, that how, and I had never really thought about this before, but how the same word, obviously there's many, many, many languages out there. How does the same word have the same meaning and the same energy? So it really got me thinking about that at the break. It's like, oh, right. So that's a great example of how the energy, it is the energy, and then we try to put words to it. Like, I don't know how many times I was like, I'm trying to explain something, and putting words to it can sometimes be an interesting thing.
Right?
Yes. But you get the energy a lot of times of, what the person is trying to convey.
Yeah, and whether you're speaking the same language or different language, it's like for me this really hit me the very first time I was being translated into one of the first times I was being translated, and it was into Italian. And at that point in time, the translation, I would speak and wait, and then the translator would speak. So it was like a ping pong back and forth, right? And so I remember I said one thing, and what I said is a lot of people don't change their bodies because the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Which in English speaking, we know what that said. We know what that means. Right. The expression, right? Don't change because it could get worse. So I know this. Right. And so I use that expression, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And he went, blah, 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 espresso. I'm just kidding. I don't know what he said, something in Italian. And I looked at him and I went, that's not what I just said. And he goes, well, no, we don't have that expression, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. So I used something Italian. I said, but it's not what I said. He was trying to convey whatever he thought it should be. And but I went, holy crap. Because I was aware of the energy behind the words I was using, the words he used didn't match what I was conveying. And I went, holy crap, there's something to this. I'm not just crazy, right?
How about that?
And they're like, when did you learn Italian? I'm like, I speak energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we all do.
So it's like whether it's, we all do. Absolutely. So whether it's Italian or German or French or Spanish or English, it brings up an energy. Whether, like I said, whether it's fire or fuego, it brings up that same energy of the embodiment and the entity of what fire is. Yeah. And so it's really been fun. The more I explore this energetic exploration of the energy behind the words, the ease it has been more for traveling, because it's like people will talk to me in their language and I'll answer them in English because I don't actually know their language, but I know what they're saying. I know what they're asking.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And, it's the same thing with people either who cannot speak or even with babies, right? Before a baby learns any words, what that baby's telling you most of the time. There might be sometimes you're like, oh, I wish you could talk right now because I don't get what you're crying about, right? But most of the time, they're able to very clearly communicate with you what they are asking for. And that's all energy, right?
It is all energy. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite things to tease people with is I'll look at somebody like in a meeting or a class or even a fight or whatever, and I look at them and I'm like, what? They're like, I'm not saying anything. I'm like, you're not saying anything loudly. You're very loud with this.
You're being very loud and not saying anything. I love that. And that's so true. Like, there's sometimes when I get really mad at my husband and I know that it's better that I don't say anything, and he'll look at me and go, what? And I'm like, I didn't say a word, right? But my whole energy, and even when I'm like, I didn't say anything, I'm saying a lot, aren't I? like,
you're
okay,
saying
I'm
a lot
loudly.
Yeah, you're saying a lot
that.
loudly, and that's the thing. Is
like, okay, I'll see you later. Good idea. Come back when I'm not saying anything.
When I'm really not saying anything. Yeah. And that's why that one I'm doing, the next one I think is creating clear communication, because it's like, oh my gosh.
I love it. Yes. And like there's, and the kind of classic joke, right, between men and women is like men have no idea most of the time what the heck to do, because we do not, as a generalization, we don't communicate clearly to them. So we say, like, there's nothing wrong, and they will take us at face value when really the subtext going on is like, how could you not know how mad I am right now, or how much you hurt my feelings, or whatever it is. And the poor guy's going, I don't know what to do here.
I know. One of the greatest gifts for me in like men-women relationships is way before Access, when I was working in TV, I had a guy as a roommate who I wasn't romantically involved with. We were just roommates. Mm-hmm. So it was fascinating to watch him communicate with the girls, and then the girls communicate with him. And so we would do what we called male and female interpretation, because like he would get off the phone with the girl, and I'm like, you want to know what she's thinking right now? He's like, what? And I'm like, because he was like, because she said, hey, you're going on a trip, will you call me while you're gone? He's like, sure, whatever, I'll call you if I have, I'm not doing anything, if I'm not busy. And so when he hung up the phone, I'm like, she's thinking right now, oh my gosh, he likes me so much that he's going to call me when he's gone, and all this. And he went on, he's like, she's not thinking that. I'm like, yeah. I said, you're going, if I'm not busy, if I don't have a meeting, sure, I'll call you, whatever. But it means relationship, and like the next step is real being serious to her. Yeah. And he's like, no. I'm like, nope, it wasn't. And then he comes back and goes, you're right. I'm like, I know. Because it's like women have these layers and complexity. We're insane. And men are very straightforward. And I love it. They are. So it's actually helped my communication with men. Because it's like, when I'm dating somebody and they're like, so what do you want for your birthday? I say this. No game. Like, ticket. Thank you. Or, whatever. Yeah. But it is. Yeah. Well, and I have a friend who, he could not understand, like, what she would say, why does my wife ask me if I look fat in this dress if she doesn't want to hear my answer? And I would just say, Bob, please, that's not. She wants you to tell her that you look good. But that dress is too tight, and it's doing this and doing, and that's like, and I would try. Like, he was one who was so just didn't get the whole women's subtext, and it's like, why haven't you told me you love me lately? I love you. I'm married to you. Why do I have to tell you again? It's just like, oh, Bob, So yes, the insanity of what we can put men through. Quite interesting. I was dating this one Access guy one time, and he's like, I'm like, oh, how do I look? He's like, you want the truth, or you want me to lie to you? I'm like, I want you to lie to me. He goes, there you go. There you go. Tell me I look fantastic, no matter what. And I was very serious, and he's like, oh, blah blah blah. I'm like, thanks, and I wander off. I'm like, okay. Did we mention women are crazy? We are. We know it. For most part, we know it. Yes, we know it. So there's a little side lesson for you guys listening. How to deal with women. I have no idea. Okay, so the energy, like, look for the energy, not necessarily the words coming out of the woman's mouth. No. You had mentioned affirmation. And I'd love to dive in there a little bit before, because this show is going by so fast. I'd love to dive into this a little bit. So what do you have with us? Affirmations. Affirmations is another one of those areas that really helped me develop this other class. because it's like, the most famous affirmation is, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise, right? People hear this. You're supposed to stand in front of a mirror or wherever and go, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise. I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise. And we're supposed to say this, and it's supposed to change everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a very small percentage of people that affirmations actually work for. And I was like, okay, why? What's going on? And for me, it came to this energy again. Because when people stand in front of a mirror and they go, or they don't have to be in front of a mirror if they're just doing their, affirmations, and they go, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise. They may be saying that, but energetically they're saying, I'm sick, I'm poor, I'm stupid. Affirmations are trying to convince yourself of the opposite of what you already believe. So when you're saying, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise, but I'm really sick, poor, stupid, says the energy. I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise, words. I'm sick, I'm poor, and stupid, energy.
And I don't believe it, yes.
Yeah, because that's you're not believing it, so that's why you energetically say the opposite. Because if you believed and knew you were healthy, wealthy, and wise, you wouldn't have to be doing the affirmation. Right. So the only problem with this is when you say verbally, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise, but energetically say, I'm sick, I'm poor, I'm stupid, the universe and your body listens to the energy. So if you're not congruent with this, like with the affirmations, you're not congruent. You're just reinforcing the opposite. You're asking, you're like hoping, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise, but I really think I'm sick, poor, and stupid. Energetically, your body and the universe listens to the energy, and that's what you get more of. This is why the percentage of people who affirmations work for is very little, because the people I've seen that the affirmations work for, they actually are congruent with it. They're like, I am healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise. Yeah, baby. Not that doubt, not that disbelief. Yeah. And so that's the problem with it, is you're just reinforcing, because energetically you're going, not really, just kidding. I'm stupid. Why are you even talking to me? It's like,
yes.
And so that's why affirmations work for a very small percentage of people, is because of this energy being different than the words that you're saying. So it's fun. I love it.
Are there any quick questions that you could share that people could ask to shift these energies?
Yeah, questions, and the first part is, it's like, look at it. In the morning, as you're saying something, if you're saying your affirmations, or you're talking to your body, or you're talking to your partner, be willing to be vulnerable and go, wow, am I actually meaning what I'm saying? Is the energy matching? Simply the question is like, oh, is the energy match here? And it's like, no, or yes, but it's like, is the energy matching? And if it's not matching, don't self-flagellate. Don't go, I'm a bad person. No, this is the time to go, okay, well, what word would match? How could I say this to match? Or what's going on that this doesn't match? It's like, if I'm asking my body, what would it take to heal? Or body, what would it take to lose weight? And energetically I'm going, don't heal, don't lose weight. Well, then you have another question to ask. It's like, okay, what is this facilitating for me? What's the value of having this that I'm actually not asking it to change? And so, but it starts with that being vulnerable and then not judging yourself for it. Because you're not looking for the judgment, you're looking for the awareness so that you can actually change it. And then don't judge, just don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
No judgment.
I think we've all done that for enough, right? Time to choose something
hell yeah.
different.
It used to be my hobby.
Oh my gosh.
What did you do today? I judge myself. Oh, good.
All day, 24/7, nonstop. No, I am so grateful for this conversation. It has been so much fun chatting with you and getting some more wonderful information. And I'm signing up for your class on February 27th. For sure, the energy of words, creating your body and life with the energy of words. Yeah. So, wow, because I know that we barely scratched the surface here, and I'm sure even in two-part class, it's going to be a lot of information. It looks like each one is scheduled for an hour and a half, so it's 3 hours of conversation, facilitation, questions, and clearing that I'm really excited. And it's around, it's around the world. You can be anywhere in the world and call in, and you will have so much fun playing with Miss Donnielle.
Yeah, and the other half of that is why it's a two-part, and it's like a week apart, is because the first one we're going to clear, do process and that kind of stuff, and then use the tools in the next week and come back with real-life examples that we can look at and talk about.
Love it.
Awarenesses, and really get into deep of actual practical use of it. So I'm excited.
Yes, and part of your definition of the class is exploring interactions to see where we're using words that aren't congruent. So thank you, Donnielle, so much for playing with us today. And I know you'll come back and play with us again.
Absolutely. You're awesome. I adore you. Thank you so much, Betsy.
Thank you, and have a great week, everyone. And thank you so much for tuning into Imperfect Brilliance. So grateful for you. Take care. Have a great week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.